Hopefully everyone had a lovely weekend. Couple of things to go through for myself this morning. Firstly, Justin's back from holidays, but he's going to be working from home the rest of this week when he can. So if you need him, give him a phone call or an email. Thanks to Nick and everyone else that chucked their hand up to go over and support on the Air Peninsula. They've sent their gratitude over there. They're so thankful that the whole work group had an opportunity to go to Brilliant's Memorial Service. So thanks Nick for your time, but also to everyone else that put their hand up so quickly to offer to go over and help. Much appreciated. Welcome back, Chris Hoyle, after his couple of months leave, travelling around the country. Big round of applause. So make him feel welcome again. Make sure he's switched on, knows what he's doing. He's had a couple of months off. And not sure if he's seen any line he's working across the world. They do it differently, mate. So
Didn't know what I was doing before I left.
that's also followed by, I know everyone's aware, but Matt Deller's last day with us on Friday. It's an unfortunate loss, but we wish Matt all the best on his future endeavours and really hope that works out for you, mate. So get around Matt and make sure he has a good week his last week. Julia is on leave from the 19th of May to the 10th of June. There's a couple of different people filling in. They won't be here all the time. I think Beth's going to be here one day a week. So if you've got any BSO related queries, just come see me and I'll just direct you in the right person. Probably the easiest way forward. The last week of that I am on leave. Justin will be filling in for my position, so just let me in for that time. Big congratulations goes out to Reese and Emily, who welcomed a baby boy, Sonny Ralph to the extended DS family. So if you weren't aware, if you hadn't seen photos already, new baby boy, that's our long-term recruitment strategy here at DS. So we're doing quite well about the babies that pumped out in this depot in the last year or so. And lastly, a big congratulations goes to Josh Rents, who's won the Works Coordinator position after some interviews last week. So well done.
Cheers. Seth, go through stuff?
Yeah, so pretty quiet week last week. Tim and I just wanted to make mention just two little things. So obviously when we do install working earths, they can be installed by a non-accredited operator, which we've gone through, I believe, in the past. But if you are installing working earths, say out on a swell line, you know that the line's dead because you say de-energise it, but you've lost track of your main earths. Just treat it all as a switching item. Go up with your PPE on, prove it all dead, etc. And keep the non-accredited operators on the floor. Don't let them go up and do that item. And just, we're still coming across switching items that are missing or not correct, so keep reporting those, and just any other hazards you find out in the field. That's all I've got today. So.
Thanks, mate. We'll go through some DS near misses and incidents. So first here, switching items not an SP. So when conducting a switching brief, it was discovered that there were some items missing on the SP. Check authorisation received from dispatch operations to hospital customer outage was missing. That was picked up in the brief. Coordinator rang on and got that amended and put into the SP. And then later on in the day, towards the end of the SP, it was noticed that there was no advised HVC on items completed at the end. So that was also added, and yeah, switching commenced and there was no issues, but yeah, just highlight the fact to be vigilant in briefings because SPs are slipping through with items missing. Oxy cutting pole, so while cutting a pole at about head height, oxy splatter went down person's overalls, giving some slight burns to the stomach. So as a suggestion, just all oxy cutting, if you can, try and cut below chest height to avoid that. And if not, maybe put some other measures in place. Tripped over material in walking area, so when looking through material bays around here, employee tripped over an earth stake that was sort of tied to a pallet and sticking in the walking area. The earth stake was removed straight away, so just be mindful material prepping or loading gear or whatever. Just keep our walking areas clear. Small truck dent. So truck fuel tank made slight contact with the bottom of the tree, causing a small dent. Don't know, has anyone got any suggestions to avoid that? Probably just, yeah, just be observant, probably just take a little bit of care. Poor labelling in a transformer cubicle. So during the planned LV outage to repair red phase underground low voltage cable, a set of traffic lights nearby West Lakes Boulevard and Military Road went out. Power to these were restored in 1 minute. There's a suggestion here that if there are jobs that require an outage near traffic lights or other critical infrastructure, just to spend a bit more time and take a bit more care in the scoping process. Site safety discussion. So this is probably from the U underground guys. They went out to repair a neutral fault at Woodcroft. Crews located and repaired the fault. And it was at this point the leader on site went through the process to remove temporary neutral. And it was just flagged that we can't remove temporary neutrals. They're to be done by a SAPN electrical mechanic. So just keep that in mind if you ever go to a neutral cable fault and there's a temp neutral there. You ever need a mechanic to come in and test everything's okay and to remove the temp neutral. Want to go through your few things, mate?
Yeah, so I got a few here, so no real particular order. So one of the safety alerts here was someone fell backward into a stormwater. So basically on a new subdivision sort of area, primary contractor was installing some stormwater drains in the area. So Enervin worker, I believe it was an Enervin worker, they were in there hauling cable or doing whatnot, and he stepped backwards and stepped into an open stormwater drain, which wasn't bunted or covered with anything at all. So the worker managed to save himself, got his arms out, protected his fall. Obviously reported, and safety gurus attended site. So Enervin worked with the principal contractor to ensure controls on the site were maintained from this point. It was all toolbox. Further briefing at the next safety meeting with the wider team to make it aware that what occurred, and continue focus on educating workers on the importance of hazard reporting. So obviously if we see something like this, make sure we report it, get it action, because yeah, last thing we want is a great big hole behind our work areas.
Pass that around, Nick, 'cause I think the picture speaks for it.
Yeah. Next one here is a fractured bone in hand while using a Milwaukee drill, pretty much what we've got in our trucks. Now there's a lot of words around what happened, guys, but basically all the worker was doing was drilling out a 12mm hole to a 16mm on a brace. Had the setting on high speed, low torque, and it bit in and broke his hand. Broke his hand. So he didn't have the handle attachment on it either. Pretty much learnings are just be aware of the tool settings and the power of your drills, guys. Make sure we're using correct step drills and we're not overpowering these or overworking the drills so they'll grab. Two hands, basically. The last one is incident alert from Zinfra. So somewhere in Australia, I don't even know where, somewhere, two of the EWPs were removing a street light off a wooden pole. So using their 2-bucket method, they had ropes attached and whatever. As they removed the coach bolts from the pole, the light had an uncontrolled fall, and the guy from the EWP actually fell out of the bucket while he was trying to grab/control this light. So he was suspended in the air from about 7 metres up. Recovery was immediately affected, and line worker was transported to a nearby hospital where he was confirmed to have suffered a sprain, ligaments of muscles in his right shoulder. So prior to commencing any work, an object's path of movement should it shift or fall unexpectedly be considered. Ensure all objects and heights are lowered to the ground in a controlled method, and don't let your instincts put you at harm in any way. So don't fall out the bucket.
Thanks, mate. A couple of safety alerts. So we've got one for aggressive dog. So when conducting a smart meter and modem upgrade, the worker was concerned by an aggressive dog. And luckily the dog's owners were home, managed to control the dogs and restrain them inside. So there was no injuries sustained to the worker and work was completed. But just a couple of focus points. So employees are reminded to complete a thorough risk assessment prior to entering any property and document any hazards on hire. And when attending a customer's premise, workers must undertake the following actions to determine if there is a dog present at the site. So rattle the gate, alert the dog, whistle or make any noises, and just look for evidence of dogs. So feces or dog droppings, kennels, chains, leads, worn patches of grass, bones, dog toys, anything that they like, just to make you aware if there's a dog present, and if so, yeah, just carry out a thorough risk assessment.
Something that's not on there, which I'm surprised, is what we all got taught last week, I reckon it was, with the workmate. You can look for hazards and dogs is one of them. Anyone use that yet?
Yeah, I don't have a dog, but I've got to be aware of that.
On your the gate at home. Yeah, but you can actually click on properties, and if the dog that's known that's aggressive, it'll come up and tell you. So sorry, a white-headed dog. Yeah, I'd say there definitely would be. I'll follow up how I'd say probably through.
Yeah, it's like to say one day like we go out, there's an aggressive dog, and then the next day like it's like a continuous job. Next week the boys are out there again.
Oh, it's a good idea, even if it's not a continuous job, Matty. I'll follow that up. Let you know. Get back to it next week.
We've got a red alert for live line insulator washing. So a worker was undertaking live line insulator washing on a 33 kV power line. The worker was washing the surge arrestor, and the surge arrestor was quite built up with dirt and grime and whatnot. So the worker sort of went in closer than what he probably would with his nozzle to get a bit more pressure and get all the stuff off the surge arrestor. They did understand that surge arrestor was made out of soft material, so they didn't have it as a complete jet, they had it as a fan. But still, they experienced the flashover. When the flashover occurred, the worker turned himself and going away. There's no injury or anything, but just something to highlight. So learning points, when undertaking live line insulator washing, aim to maintain a distance of 3 metres. Energise washing on surge arrestors may impose several electrical stresses on the arrestors due to the voltage imbalance and should not be done without manufacturer's reference. Generator backfeed. So basically there was a crew dispatched on a planned job to change the lid of a transformer. They had SPs and the relevant limits of isolation to carry out the work. Their low voltage limit was just in the bus of the transformer that they were working on. That was okay because they weren't to be working on the low voltage at all. But just out of interest sake, once they'd done their isolation, they just tested on the load side of the low voltage bus, and they had 240 volts there, which was unexpected. It should have been 0. So upon investigation, they found out there was an SA water site that had a generator, and the SA water site had a faulty changeover switch. So the SA water site was notified, that was rectified, and work carried out as normal. But yeah, it's just another case that we can do everything right, and the network still may not be in the state that we anticipate it to be. And we've got a DC AC inverter fault. So basically there was some crews driving back from the air peninsula to Adelaide in a van. The employee noticed a smell of burning electrical wiring in the cabin of his van, so the employee stopped to investigate. And the second employee was travelling behind in a separate van, also pulled over to assist this worker that had stopped. And upon searching, they noticed that they had a bucket inverter and also the RCD to protect the inverter. So they isolated the supply, they isolated the 250 amp batteries in the van and carried on their way. Key points, the inverter and breaker switch compartments sustained damage to electrical wiring. There was no damage to the service van. Inverter and battery were isolated and made safe. Vehicles with some inverter types have had inverter isolated until further notice. So it sounds like the vehicles with similar inverters have had them isolated until the investigation of this comes out. I don't know if it's relevant to our bands.
Unheard.
It's something we'll look into. And that's all I have. Anyone else have anything they want to add?
Just thanks to those that walked and helped organise Saturday's walk. It was really good. Actually enjoyed it. And we just ticked over $1,000 raised. And considering it was sort of pretty short notice this time, it was good. Maxine and Ryan and the rest of the teams were all there, and they really appreciated the support. So it was a good thing to do. The weather was good. 4 laps, but 1 lap Davies and 2 lap Renzi over there. They can really perform that well, but it was a good day.
Cool. Thanks everyone. Have a safe week.
Well done, mate.